Good afternoon. Today's Battle Rhythm, Examining Successful Veteran Social Organization, will be hosted by Jeanette Gillis. Jeanette is the director of the network at America's Warrior Partnership. So the network is there to provide local veteran serving organizations like yourself with a connection to national resources when a veteran's request cannot be met locally. To find out more about the network, please visit americaswarriorpartnership.org/the network. That's it for me. Jeanette, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Allison. I would like to welcome all of our affiliate communities, 4-Star Alliance members, Veteran Service Organization, and guests to our Battle Rhythm today. We're really excited about our topic. It is examining successful veteran social organizations. And this topic was selected because of the important factor connectedness plays in reducing death by suicide or self-harm. Most communities have a VFW or an American Legion, but some of those mature social clubs have a difficult time adjusting and recruiting the younger post 9/11 veterans. So today, we're going to be bringing everybody together to discuss how some social clubs are thriving versus the ones that are struggling to adapt, and maybe what we can do to support them and help get the younger folks more involved. I would like to welcome today's guest, Nate Boyer. Nate is the co-founder and board president of Emerging Vets and Players. I'd also like to welcome Gabi Wordlow. Adam Wallace was originally scheduled to be on today, but he's not able to be here. So Gabi has graciously volunteered to take his place. Gabi is our AWP community analyst, and she'll be talking about what she's seen in her visits to community-based American Legions and VFWs while analyzing communities around the country. So should be some interesting conversation here. Throughout this session, please post your questions in the chat box so that we can answer them throughout the presentation and during the question and answer time. Also, please feel free to mute your phones. Also, please feel free to add any information that you would like to be passed out along to attendees with the after action. We'll round off today's Battle Rhythm by breaking into collaborative breakout discussion groups that we have all come to know and love, and hopefully that'll give us a chance to talk to one another and share even more information. Today's session will conclude at 3:15. So, Gabi, I'm going to hand this section over to you, and thank you for your willingness to share your insights.
Hi guys. Thank you guys for having me. Bear with me through this. Again, I am Gabi, and I am the community analyst for America's Warrior Partnership. A little bit about what I do is I have the opportunity of going, 9 places were selected this year. I have 3 more to go. I've completed 6. And I go and assess the services within the communities that are already in place for veterans. I've had the pleasure of visiting some American Legions and some VFWs and kind of seeing some trends and things that are needed and things that they're doing well in. Some of the American Legions and VFWs that I have visited, some have amazing membership and have the members, where some lack the members. A lot of the American Legions and VFWs took a really, really big hit during COVID. A lot of American Legions and VFWs shut down because of COVID. They didn't have the members, or they just didn't have the funding. Activities and involvement in the community, I think, is a big part of American Legions and VFWs in order for them to stay successful, along with the support of the membership. A lot of them, what I noticed, also has opened up to the public just to keep the business flowing and keep the business open. What is needed, what I found that is needed from VFWs and American Legions is the younger generation in order to keep it flowing. A lot of the commanders have said that a lot of the commanders I have met are a little older, and they are actually willing for the younger generation to come in and be like, yes, like we want to be involved. So it's just, how do we reach how do we reach the younger generation to keep these businesses flowing? What else? What else can I say? Let's see. One of the American Legions that I did visit, they are very, very, very involved with the VA, with their VA. And when I say that they're involved as far as giving back, they throw an annual like toy drive just to give back, for example, for Christmas. Let me speak on Christmas. Just to give back to the veterans in the communities that is needed. So that involvement is huge. Activities within the American Legion and VFW is huge too. I had the pleasure of visiting one that was very big as far as involving members and families and children. They were able to, they had a big steak night and was able to provide steaks to pretty much everybody within the families. Another thing that needs to, I guess, another thing that I realized that needs to be a part is women. The women are not as involved in the VFWs or American Legions, but it's coming around. Some are more involved than others. One American Legion I did visit, the women of auxiliary are there and they are super involved. So that really, really helps with that population. Let me think. Really just the recruitment for the younger veteran population is really needed. And it's just how do we really address that population and how do we bring those people, that younger generation, into the American Legions and VFWs to keep them flowing. Allison or Jeanette, do y'all have anything y'all need me to talk about or anything else? Because
I'm reviewing the chat to see. We do have a question from Jenny. Jenny wants to know, Gabrielle, did you visit all states or did you do a cross sample?
So these states were selected for me, so it was a cross sample. Do I need to go over where I visited or?
That might be interesting.
Okay, so some of the states we have, let's see, Miami, Tampa, DC, Dallas, Wichita, and where did I just come from? New Orleans. Yes, so those were the 6 states I've done so far. I still have Chicago, Detroit, and California left for me to visit. It kind of depends on the location of the American Legion and VFW and how involved. One of the things I remember that one commander said to me is the reason he needs that younger presence is because he needs help with social media presence and websites. So that's not something that everybody knows how to do. So yeah. Let me see.
You have another one about, let's see. Do you see any successful strategies that you can share? Anything that was interesting to you that's successful?
Any successful strategies? One of the commanders that I did meet, he is super young. And when I say that, he is actually under 40. Well, yeah, he's under 40 and he is very involved. And when I say that, he, for him and his American Legion, the way he told me that he is successful is he teams up with one of the homeless shelters that really is really strong within the community and takes on all those new veterans that are coming in. So that's how he gets a lot of his membership. So kind of feel that's how he's successful. What else? As far as bringing the families in, I think when the families are involved and they're able to feel like they have a place, I think that also can make a VFW and American Legion very successful. Because I believe women are also needed in American Legions and VFWs too. So yeah.
Okay. Well, we have an interesting comment from Hugo that he and John are talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and bring it into the bigger conversation. Hugo's asking, are the big six thinking of changing their membership model? To be a member, you have to pay. The new generation of VSOs are free. Are the big six thinking through this? So is there any thoughts of changing that?
Oh, I don't really know how to answer that question. I don't really know how to answer that question, but yeah, I don't. I'm sorry.
Okay. And then we have another comment from, let's see where to go. From my friend Robert Murphy in Aiken, South Carolina. He had a comment about, he's saying that he thinks we need to give the younger 9/11 vets a break as it pertains to the VFW and American Legion, because a lot of current members will tell you that they didn't join until years following their service. So maybe it's not that something's broken, but that this just tends to be something people do later.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so those are some things to think about. And you know, John does give us a comment about, as far as some of the organizations, these older organizations have buildings to maintain and things like that. So there's where the dues kind of help with that. Does anybody else have a question that they want to ask Gabrielle?
I see one that says, do you feel that the club atmosphere is truly needed, or is it enough to just be part of the service organization?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
That is a good question. That's a hard question, because it really does depend on the location of the VFW or American Legion. And I say that because some American Legions I went to are very tight knitted and it is family, but they're super welcoming. Like they want new people. And it does feel like a club, but there are some that just feel like, oh, this is just the organization. You can come and just hang out. It kind of really depends on if that VFW or American Legion is open to the public. Some of the ones that are not open to the public, they are like really truly like family, but they're very welcoming too. So it kind of just depends.
Okay. All right.
Jeanette, there was some really good posts from Jill Wolf from Grand Valley. She had said something about so she was talking earlier about the women and how they play a really key part of the successful club organizations. And if there's a strong women's group. Also, she said that she had found that some are doing projects, yard cleanup, care baskets, and the best way to engage the student veterans, at least, to get them involved in doing something for others, and not just
like a
going
project
to hang out to drink. Yeah.
Right.
So,
having a service project or a way to support other vets in the community and things like that. Yeah, that sounds really great. I'd actually like to be a part of something like that. That sounds good. That sounds fun. I mean, it sounds like a great way to help the community while at the same time get back that camaraderie and joint purpose.
yes.
Yeah, I don't know if we're allowed to talk, but I
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, jump in.
I'm sort of new around here. I will say that when you give them something to do with their hands, and that's giving back to other people, it also gives them an opportunity to talk to each other and build those relationships. I mean, a lot of veterans organizations have a tough time with engagement, and you just have to give them a reason, a friendship, a connection to show up the next time. And I find those service projects are way, way better than just showing up and drinking beers. So.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for that. Gabby, are you finished with your presentation? Did anybody have any more?
Yes. Anybody else have any more questions for me? If not, I'll meet you guys in the breakout room, whichever one I'm in.
Here's a good one. We'll end with this one. This is a good one too. Many younger veterans are still in the process of starting their civilian lives, education, careers, and families, and it could be beneficial for the Big Six to focus support on younger veteran organizations such as SVAs investing in these younger vets and their current organizations could create a potential recruiting pool of those already involved in student veteran organizations. And I'll add to that, one of the things I had some student veterans tell me is that not all student veterans are single, and a lot of them have families. So doing family activities would also be something that would bring people in and make them.
Jeanette, that has been huge for me too, to say your spouse is invited, your kids are invited, to offer childcare or activities for the kids so that the vets can connect with each other, but they don't feel like they're just showing up by themselves and not knowing anybody. That has just been really important to building our engagement.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's great. I like that.
I can I say one more thing, Jeanette? I'm sorry.
Of course.
I do agree with that the younger generation, as far as students, are really needed in the organizations, because what I found is when there are needs that they have that they actually do not know where to turn to get those needs addressed, or even know who to talk to, somebody who's ever even been through that. So the VFWs and American Legions, they have their resources, and so that's a community that I think that they need to connect with, definitely. So I definitely consider it. Tristan, they're common.
Yeah. So thank you, Tristan, for that comment. All right. Well, thank you so much, Gabi, for your willingness to share your insights. Now I'd like to pass the presentation ball over to Nate Boyer. Nate, if you would introduce yourself and share some information about merging vets and players, that would be great.
Of course. Thanks so much. Thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Yeah, so I'm Nate. I was raised in San Francisco Bay Area, grew up a big 49ers fan, big football fan. Didn't play football growing up, but it was something I was always passionate about and hoping to get an opportunity to do later in life. Graduated from high school, moved to San Diego for a bit, worked on a fishing boat, other odd jobs, then moved up to Los Angeles when I was 19 with an interest in working in film and television. And a year after that, 9/11 hit, and it kind of changed my life forever, a lot of people's lives forever, of course. It put me on a different trajectory. So I joined the military eventually, and I became a Green Beret, was in for 10 years. First half of that on active duty, second half of that while I was in college at University of Texas. While I was in college, I walked on the football team and played ball there for 4 years. Even though I hadn't played in the past, it was like, I didn't care what position, I just wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to find a way on, and kind of built that confidence through my time in the military and overseas, that it was possible, that it's something I could do. And I did. And so I was played on special teams, started for the last 3 years at Texas, and eventually got an opportunity with the Seattle Seahawks in 2015. I was signed as an undrafted free agent to be a long snapper, and spent about 5 months with the team up there. And it was amazing. I mean, it was a great opportunity to get to play at the NFL level. I mean, even though I only played in one game, just to get up there and have that shot really meant a lot. And then when that ended, I'd actually gotten out of the military in February of 2015 and completely separated. In September of 2015, now I was, released from the Seahawks. So I had these two locker rooms that were very similar in a lot of ways, that I was very close with, and identity that kind of wrapped around the uniforms associated with those two things. And now I didn't have either of those things. So I went from feeling like I was full of purpose, always engaged, always busy. I mean, even when I was in college and still in the military, I was getting deployed every summer. So I was going back overseas for about 3.5 months, and then coming home, going to college, playing football. Like the op tempo was high. And I loved it. And I loved both going to school, playing football, and also going overseas and serving my country. Especially I think being a Green Beret didn't help things, because we did have that sort of elevated connection to what we were doing, feeling as though we'll never do anything this great again, and never be a part of something this special and unique and purposeful, and that loss of mission. And then even, honestly, playing with the Longhorns and playing with the Seahawks, maybe two of the best at their in their leagues, legendary programs anyway, and then losing that was just tough for me to move forward. And I considered going back into the military. I was 34 years old, felt like I still had a lot of good years left in me. And I'd become good friends with Jay Glazer, who was a Fox NFL analyst. And, Jay was like, look, I hear what you're saying right now, and I understand that desire to continue to get back in the fight and just be all you can be, and go 100 miles an hour all the time. But there's a lot of people in your shoes feel exactly how you feel. And there's a lot of men and women that leave professional sports and leave the military and have that similar, like, loss of purpose, loss of identity pretty young when you transition out of those worlds back into the real world, civilian life, whatever you want to call it. And of course, war and playing sports are completely different things, but that camaraderie and bonding that happens around those two worlds are very similar. And the amount of sacrifice it takes to be elite at something is very similar. And so we started this organization called Merging Vets and Players, MVP for short. And we bring together combat vets, former pro athletes, and we help them find purpose and identity when they lose a uniform. Over the years, we've grown quite a bit. This is actually in 2 days, December 7th, will be our 7th anniversary. We've got 8 chapters around the country, in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Chicago, Atlanta, New York, Seattle, Dallas, and Phoenix. We've also got virtual chapters online, so people can join us from anywhere in the country on a weekly basis in our Zoom sessions. But yeah, it's been really cool to see this team sort of build and these people come together. It's a very unique group. They're sort of heroes to each other, and they kind of look up to each other in a lot of ways, and they've got this mutual respect that you don't see a lot of places, and kind of that mutual recognition of somebody that played or served at a very high level, and then a lot of times not on your own terms, loses that and has to just re-navigate, recalibrate, start over, and figure out who you are and what you're going to do with the rest of your life. 2 years ago, something that was really special and unique that we got to do as a team was make a movie about MVP, about our experiences. And, it's a scripted film, it's a narrative, it's not a documentary. However, the representation on screen and behind the camera was mostly veterans and athletes. So it was kind of us making this project together. Every veteran portrayed on screen is played by a vet. Not all, most of the athletes portrayed on screen are played by the actual people, to include Randy Couture, who also served in the Army and was a 6-time UFC champion of the world. Tony Gonzalez, a Hall of Fame tight end. Michael Strahan and Howie Long have a cameo in it. Jay Glazer's in it. Other athletes you'd maybe recognize. And then all the vets, yeah, like I said, they're all played by actual vets. We film on location at a veterans transition house, a shelter of sorts that a lot of these guys were living in. And the whole thing takes place in Hollywood, and it's about a Marine that was living in that shelter and a NFL player first year out of the league, and they're both going through the same struggles with that transition, and they have to help each other through it. And it's a cool way to learn more about who we are at MVP. And you can check that out. It's available now on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, all the major streamers. You can rent it. And also, our website, vetsandplayers.org. You can go and learn more about us. on there, reach out to us, connect with us. If you're in one of those cities or near one of those cities or know vets or athletes in those cities with those chapters, connect them with us as well. It's pretty cool what we do on a weekly basis. We'll meet up in the gym. We'll train for about 30, 45 minutes, and then we'll huddle up afterwards, and it's just peer-to-peer coaching. It's an open forum, we encourage vulnerability. We want people to just talk about what's going on in their lives. And there's going to be other people in that room that can help coach one another through it. And we all, a lot of us want that opportunity to continue to serve. And it's been pretty amazing, pretty special to be a part of it and sort of continue to build what we're building here. But we want to be there for, we're there for the athletes as well. That's important. It's a way for us also to bridge this civilian military divide and kind of connect on something a little bit outside the box, but, engage with others that feel that similar way, even though they didn't go to war. So yeah, that's kind of in a nutshell, a bit about my story, a bit about MVP. Like I said, the website, vetsandplayers.org. We're on social media, of course, as well, either at Vets and Players or at Merging Vets and Players, depending on where y'all are at, but or where you guys are on social. But yeah, I really appreciate the time. I know Mark Zino, our Atlanta program manager, is on here as well. I think he's going to lead one of the breakout rooms. He's also a lovely voice in the film as our sports radio host, which he does. One of his many hustles is that as well. But yeah, once again, thank you guys for letting us join you, being a part of this. I think it's really cool what you guys are doing to bring people together, bring different organizations together. I mean, we've all got a similar mission. We're all kind of fighting the same fight for the same people. We just have a different way of attacking it. So yeah, with that, I just once again say thank you. And of course, God bless America and happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Gabi and Nate, for the great presentations. Let me see if we have any comments or questions. I don't know that we really do. There's some conversations going back and forth, but
Jeanette, I was wondering if Nate could tell us, do they have any eligibility criteria for merging vets and players?
So right now, and this may be adjusting, we're in the works of figuring this all out, like who else we're able to kind of connect with and serve. But for the most part, or not for the most part, for currently it is someone who has been deployed from the veteran side, and from the athlete side, someone that played professional sports at some level. But we are looking at, and we have been for a while, sort of opening it up to a larger audience, especially now that we're over a year after the end of the 20-year war, and so we're sort of discussing that, and it's something we'll definitely continue to look at and address. But I actually saw another question here from Jamie too. If you don't mind, can I answer?
Oh no, that's a great question. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
So the topics, I mean, it varies. Every week's different. Every chapter is different. I mean, Mark can speak to that as well. Like we've all got our own things that seem to resonate with different groups of people. It is an open forum though. I mean, typically what people bring up are sometimes personal challenges, sticking points, things that they're struggling with. And so it's not just sort of mapped out or planned every week. Like we'll have some topics that some of the program managers or whoever's leading the huddle might want to touch on, but it's very organic. Like if somebody has something going on that they want to talk through, like we rally around that situation and they become the topic, or that what they're going through becomes the topic. And it can be something that happened that day. It doesn't have to be combat related or something that you experience on the field. If you're playing sports, it can be a current family issue or personal issue or accountability that you're looking for, whatever it is. It's really just recreating that team room we had in the military or the locker room we had in sports, and kind of being there for each other, having each other's back, and it's like, it's non-judgmental, like in that room, I mean, there's stuff comes up from all walks of life, you know, so from all over the place. We try to steer away from religion and politics for obvious reasons, but you know, it is very much fluid, and it's amazing, like what you walk in expecting, and then you know what comes up that day and what you get out of it. All of us, so it's pretty across the board in that regard, and very very much flexible, just depending on what's going on in the world, what's going on in these individuals' lives.
We got another one here. Saw that MVP has a partnership with VetTix. How does that work to connect vets and sports?
Well, you know, we do a lot of things outside the huddle as well. So that when we meet up on a weekly basis, we call that the huddle. You know, we'll when I say we train for 30, 45 minutes, we're like physically training. We'll work out together. And then we'll huddle up on the wrestling mats afterwards or wherever we may be in the gym. And that's when we go through that talk. So it's like we get that sweat, you know, kind of build that vulnerability a bit, but also bond with one another by going through a workout. It's something that everybody can do, you know. It's challenging no matter who you are. Like that's the way that it's sort of structured. But outside of the huddle, we have a lot of partnerships, and what we often do, because a lot of the veterans that sort of gravitate towards our program are sports fans, you know, because of who we are at Emerging Vets and Players and the groups that we're serving. So they'll go to a lot of sporting events together. We often get tickets to Major League Baseball, NFL, Bellator MMA fights, different stuff like that. And so we'll do things like that outside the huddle. I know, for instance, speak back to Mark again, who's also on here, down in Atlanta, you know, we recently had an event that they put together at the Falcon Stadium. You know, we do like these pop-up sessions, like a special huddle that'll be like on the football field down there. And then we'll have a lunch. And, you know, sometimes we get to do that with some of the current or former players. And it's really cool. We've done events down in Atlanta with the Braves as well. And so like there's always connections to these pro sports teams in our physical chapters that we'll engage with and we'll do stuff with. But then beyond that, people go on hikes together. We'll do a barbecue at the beach in our LA chapter all the time. Like there's just different opportunities like that. And nothing's really off the table. There's service projects as well, you know, and we'll work with the Mission Continues and other Team Rubicon groups like that too, and kind of get our members engaged in that way. And by the way, membership doesn't cost anything. You know, it's not like you have to sign up and pay or anything like that. So yeah.
Okay, well, cool. Well, Matt's got a couple questions for you. He wants to know what kinds of things need to be identified before new chapters are stood up, and how can we help?
Well, you know, one of the things is, first of all, there's going to be a need everywhere. There's no place that doesn't have this populace, especially in the major markets. There's a lot of athletes in those major markets. You know, typically we need a partnership with a gym, right? That's willing to open their doors, or I guess close their doors to us for a couple hours a week. Most of our partnerships come at no cost, which is great. Some of them it is minimal because the gym has to keep the lights on, so that's understandable at times. But you know, everywhere we're at too, we have to hire staff to run it. Typically, we have 2 staff members in each chapter. So, you know, fundraising is a big part of what we have to do. We got to be able to sustain. We've got 20-some employees at this point, and so that is important. That is a part of it. There needs to be some localized fundraising efforts, or sometimes an angel investor or an angel donor will come in and say, I want to start a chapter in Indianapolis, for instance, and you know, I'm willing to cut this check and to get things going. And so when that happens, then we're able to sort of get things rolling. So it all just kind of depends, but we have partnerships with some bigger for-profits as well, you know, such as Boeing and GNC and a lot of these big you know, corporations that fund us, but also it's a lot of private donors and individuals. And so it just depends. If you have connections to businesses, companies that are interested in supporting this, making that connection is a big part of it. And but I think the first step is just reaching out to us, you know, and exploring what that looks like, getting on a call with our staff and talking about what you're looking at doing and what needs to take place in order for it to happen. And yes, women are welcome, Hugo, of course. Yes, they are. We have a lot of female athletes and veterans that are part of our program, actually. It's pretty cool.
And we definitely appreciate that. I think it's,
Of course.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big part of those populations.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you for those questions, everybody. Is there anybody else that has a question? Either put it in the chat or come off of mute and ask the question to Nate before we move on. All right. Hearing none, I am going to pass it over to you, Allison, but let me thank Nate and Gabi one more time for their presentations and being here on the Battle Rhythm. Allison's going to get us set up for our breakout activity. And Allison?
Yes, thanks, Jeanette. Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Really
yeah,
appreciate it.
Yeah, for the next 25 minutes, we're going to go into breakout groups. This is a little bit different this time. We're going to have the same topic for every group. So it's just a random group. Sometimes, if you haven't been here before, we have different topics that are aligned to the main topic. So the breakout sort of is aligned. But this time we thought we would just go into breakout groups and hit the same topic with everybody, really getting in ideas for strategy and outreach to the millennials and the younger veteran population, things that we've tried, things we want to try, things that we've seen. Of course, things often go to a different topic, so that's where your group heads. That's okay too. So the discussion is going to last for 25 minutes. We have John Reyes leading the one group. We have Mark Zito, Nate's leading another group, and then we have Hugo is going to lead. Lintz is going to lead another group. Now remember, guys, the leader of the conversation is just to get the conversation started. They're not expected. They're not expected to give a new presentation. It's just a discussion group. So that being said, I'm going to go ahead and open the groups up if I can find it, and we will get started on our breakouts. Well, I think everybody's back now. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you all had a great conversation. Do we have anybody from group one? Let's see. So that was John. Do you guys have any good thoughts then that you can share with the group? A couple, maybe one or two?
Sure. We had a strong group of individuals in our group that talked about some of the things that have worked, and I think we can sum it up by saying that when we're able to get people involved in doing things more than just coming and hanging out, that we have more success. And that like cities like Indy are doing a pretty good job when they partner with other organizations that are some of the newer ones partnering with some of the older ones to get some success. Those tend to be some of the things that work the most. And,
excellent idea. Yeah, that's good. Sounds like you have some. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, and that we believe that the solution has to be in cooperation with the Big Six. At least that was my input, because the Big Six drives all the veterans legislation that we all are benefits of, or all of our, the population we serve are benefits of. And so whatever solutions we have, we should keep in mind keeping the Big Six alive at all chances or all opportunities, because it will take decades before IABA, even as big as it is going to have the power of legislation that the VFW and Legion and AMVETS and DAB have. So.
Excellent. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that point up. That's an excellent point. Yep. Good. All right. Group number two. What were some thoughts that you guys came up with?
So I think we were group number two. The beauty of our group was we had a wide range of experience in the veteran space. So some people that have been around a while and some people that are totally new to it. I would welcome my group to speak up, but I don't think we came up with any solutions. It was more kind of observations around having to use multiple paths of communication. So we talked about Facebook. Facebook is great if you're probably 40 or older. If you're younger than 40, Facebook ain't going to cut it. If you want to do TikTok, you're going to hit that Gen Z and millennial, but you're probably not going to hit the 40 and above. And so we were kind of making observations around that, and just getting to know the space, partnering up I think is a solution. And we didn't get the chat to this, but I would say is all of that takes time. It takes time to build those relationships, and to find out who's doing what, where, and partnerships themselves can be a challenge because there's some competition in the space. You're competing for the same group of people, and that can sometimes be kind of difficult. Group 2, Carol, I know you had a strong voice. Anybody else want to add to what I just brought up from our group?
I thought that was great, Hugo. I mean, really and truly, you're right. You've got to use different methods to hit the different generations. But yeah, thanks. Thanks
Great.
for
Thank you. So that's group 2. Thanks.
Yeah, Hugo, real quick, I just wanted to add on to what you were saying. I didn't get an opportunity to bring this up in our session. We were running out of time, but I think one of the biggest things that we can do to offer, more incentive for these millennial and Gen Z veterans to come be a part of these organizations, we got to market the added value that they're getting out of it as well. We have a lot of marketing going towards those older generations, but what is the added value that our younger generations are going to get out of this? Is there going to be professional development opportunities for them? Are they going to have opportunities to take additional leadership positions and to be able to improve themselves? That's what a lot of them are looking for.
Tristan, that's a great point, because I think the younger groups do that. Hey, continue to serve. Hey, help out your buddies. Hey, and I'm not sure the legacy groups do that great a job of that. So, okay, I think group 2's done now. Sorry.
Oh, that's excellent. It's amazing because this is the first time we've all had the same topic. And I'm just amazed, like the whole different, it's good information. So it's just actually kind of neat. All right, group 3.
Yeah, well, we touched on everything that everybody else says to a certain extent, but I think where our focus landed was a lot more of local grassroots efforts of what you can do in your local areas and your local communities to help generate some of grabbing that younger demographic. We certainly talked about the social media aspect, but looked at different ways that in and around your community, in and around your geographical area, that you can provide some outreach and some impact and sort of attracting a different audience. If anybody else from group 3 wants to add in, please do. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you.
I think that's it. Yeah, thanks, Mark. We appreciate that. So, like I said, really good ideas and good thoughts. Everybody, thank you for participating and getting involved in that discussion. It's all about like coming up with ideas and moving forward and starting the first step, right? Thinking about something new. All right, Jeanette, let's go ahead and pass it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Allison. We would like to thank Nate and Gabi again for their informative presentations. And before I close out for today, I would like to share an upcoming opportunity with you. ETS is having a sponsorship training coming up on December 15th. It's live for people in LA, California. It's also available virtually for those interested. Please look at the after action notes for more information and consider being a part of this really great program for transitioning veterans, and also opportunity for other veterans that want to volunteer to support those. Thank you all for collaborating and sharing. America's Warrior Partnership's ultimate goal is to improve the quality of life of all veterans and end veteran suicide by empowering local communities to know all of their vets and to serve them holistically before a crisis occurs. America's Warrior Partnership's model of community integration amplifies local efforts by bringing the community's veteran-serving organizations together to bridge the gaps in available services and by connecting local groups to national resources. We believe the communities are best equipped to provide the quality of life for veterans. We hope that today's battle rhythm provided you with powerful insights, some best practices, some new tools, and new partners to do just that. Our next battle rhythm will be on January 9th, 2023. Can't believe we're already there. And it will be entitled, What is Digital Equity and How Does It Affect Veterans? We all hope you can attend. Hope you all have a happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. See you on January 9th and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.